What's the last fact you learned about the human body that blew your mind? A post on r/science from a while ago blew my mind. When a pregnant woman suffers organ damage, such as a heart attack, the fetus sends stem cells to the damaged organ to help repair it. Good guy baby. I like that. If you removed all the arteries, veins, and capillaries from a person's body and tied them end to end, the person will die. Neil Tyson. We are the best distance runners in the animal kingdom. There's this thing called persistence hunting where people run after deer or other animals for miles until it gets too tired to keep going. It's now a test of endurance. Who will collapse first? The man or the animal? This was how men hunted before they had weapons, when a hunter had nothing more than his own physical endurance with which to gain his prize. Running on 2 feet is more efficient over long distance than running on 4. BBC film. That motion sickness is your brain thinking you've been poisoned. Your inner ear senses that you're moving, but your eyes don't see it. So the message that your brain receives is that you're hallucinating and you must have been poisoned. So it tells your body to vomit out any poison. So that's why I've always felt like shit while reading a book in the car. That caffeine doesn't wake you up, it just suppresses the part of the mind that wants to sleep. Isn't that essentially the same thing? What is wakefulness, if not the absence of tiredness? I can't answer your question, but that was poetic as duck. Caffeine does not step on the gas, it puts a brick behind the brake. How strong your body is. Our brains have a limiter that prevent our muscles from reaching their full power because we could hurt ourselves. In the same way cars have governors that keep you from revving too high or going too fast. When we get a kick of adrenaline, that limiter can be removed. One story I like is a kid was working under his car, 60s Impala, Ike, and the jack gave out, pinning him. Dude's middle-aged mom comes out and is able to lift the car enough for the kid to get out. My dad's a volunteer firefighter and says it's not uncommon for people to go to crazy lengths to save loved ones. Walls torn down with bare hands to get to other rooms when there's fire in the halls, windshields punched out, etc. One time a guy showed up at a wreck his wife was in and pulled the door open with his hands. 3 firefighters couldn't get it open and were preparing to use the jaws of life. The frame was bent or something, but he was able to bend the top of the door down where the window is. Placebo effect. If your mind thinks it works, then it works. Example, sugar pills and fake surgeries to make the person think they are better and then they get better. A bite from a human will almost always get infected. It's theorized that we were on our way to evolving poisonous bites. The cultures of bacteria in our mouths seem excessive for just digestion, like we are starting to deliberately formulate them to be dangerous to bite victims. Ah yeah, Komodo dragon upgrade. Edit, as many have informed me, we would become even awesomer than Commodus. I work in an ER and I learned today that the Valsalve maneuver exists. Basically someone went into supraventricular tachycardia, SVT. Their heart's electrical system went into a crazy feedback loop and made it beat really fast, and my doctor goes in and says, hold your breath and act like you're taking a huge shot. Within 30 seconds her heart rate went back to normal. Blew my mind. I thought he was totally kidding. Turns out he had done a similar thing to a patient by putting a bag of ice on his testicles. Resolved the SVT. Bodies are ducking weird. That's like fixing an engine idle problem by buckling your seatbelt. Some tumors can grow teeth, hair, and bones. And, very rarely, more complex organs or processes such as eyes, torso, and hands, feet, or other limbs. Female gametogenesis begins in utero, which means that the egg that was eventually fertilized to create you probably first existed inside your maternal grandmother. If an egg is harvested before the birth of the female embryo and is fertilized and matures, then the resulting child can be born without their mother ever being born. It would take 1,200,000 mosquitoes, all sucking at the same time, to drain the average human of blood. Terrifying mental image. With 40% blood loss needed to kill you, that's around 480,000 mosquitoes to kill you. It would only take about 20 to 30 before I'd kill myself. Don't move to Alaska. Synovial fluid. The fluid that eases joint movement is one of the most slippery substances known to man. When you blush, the lining of your stomach blushes too. So those are the butterflies we've always spoke of. Just your stomach glowing. Nothing cute or romantic like how cartoons make it seem. I still think that's pretty damn cute. A 1 times 1 inch square on your forehead contains about 8 million bacteria. Oh Jesus, which one? That one. Oh my. Scrubs forehead with hand sanitizer. Enjoy being sick now that you have also killed the good bacteria. Wah. Dunks head in toilet. No wait, that's the bad bacteria. Your brain edits out your nose and your vision. Well, it did until you said that. The average human brain weighs 3 lbs. Your personality traits, memories, emotional responses, nerve impulses, basic homeostatic mechanisms, and everything that tells your body how to work and react to stimuli is contained in 3 pounds. It's absolutely amazing that such a small organ can control everything that you are. Well, the brain did name itself, and it said it is the most important organ. Also, a traumatic brain injury can result in a whole new personality. We are all one horrible accident away from being someone else. Your hands are capable of incredibly fine motor control, so much so that your limitation is actually your eyesight. Put a specimen under a good microscope and people can do very fine micromanipulations without much difficulty. Source: Developmental Biology Lab. I don't know. Every time I stick my hint to the scanning electron microscope it just burns. There has never been a blind schizophrenic, at least blind from birth. 1/3 of women will have a miscarriage, but most won't notice, because it will be so early. It's 1/3 and of pregnancies, not 1/3 of women. So like that extra heavy period I had last month. One time my mom had a period, but it was making noise and crying when it came out, and then it turns out it was me. The heart doesn't pump, it actually twists itself. Sometimes, it also breaks. God damn it, relationships, why do you ruin the second most important organ in the body? Quite a large part of how physically fit you remain is an epigenetic process. This means that it takes around 6 months to essentially reprogram your cells to a fit metabolism, where certain protein synthesis channels are prioritized and adipose storage is reduced. This is one of the reasons why quick fix diets can never work. A great deal of hard work is required to persuade the body to stay healthy. For years I had pain in my knee. My doctor would examine my knee and say it was fine. I finally requested an x-ray to find out why my knee hurt. The doctor agreed, but said he also wanted to x-ray my hip. A year later I had a total hip replacement, and now my knee doesn't hurt anymore. Nerve impulses travel to and from the brain at around 170 miles per hour. Kinda weird to think about. Think fast. That as long as there is at least one living liver cell, the whole liver can recover. I'll drink to that. In a human body, there are 10 times more bacterial cells than human cells. There are about as many cells in the human body as there are stars in the biggest galaxy in the universe. I think I read it on cracked.com. Not sure about credibility there, but only 5% of gunshot victims actually die from their wounds. The human body is incredibly tough. Guns are also not as deadly as people see them as. They are remote hole pokers and not limb removers. Mammalian diving reflex. Ever wonder why splashing cold water on your face calms you down? It's because of this reflex. Basically, when cold water contacts your face, the brain activates a few very specific responses, designed to maximize your chances of surviving and not drowning. This reflex is strongest in aquatic mammals such as seals, otters, dolphins, etc. But humans have the response too, just weaker. There are 3 reactions that happen in this order. The first reaction that happens is your heart rate slows. This helps lessen oxygen in the bloodstream, leaving more for other organs. The second reaction is some capillaries start to restrict. This happens specifically when under high pressure from deep diving. It starts with toes and fingers, moves to hands and feet, and eventually arms and legs. This leaves more oxygen to be used by your organs and the brain. Lastly is a sort of water shift that occurs only during very deep dives. This is when your organs and circulatory walls open up and allow water and plasma to pass freely throughout your thorax. This is so that your organs don't get crushed by the pressure. Even the alveoli in your lungs fill with plasma. It all gets reabsorbed when you leave the pressurized environment, so you don't, now, die. Even when only your face is submerged in cold water, your body immediately starts to prioritize oxygen use to your brain and your heart. It's really neat. One last note that I can't verify is true or not is that when submerged your brain makes you very calm. This is in order to prevent excess oxygen use from freaking out. It would explain the calm feeling I feel when underwater for medium long amounts of time, like when scuba diving. It would also explain why splashing cold water on your face is such a widespread thing.